Welcome back, my students. Today we are going to learn types of animal behavior. In earlier classes, we have learned what is animal behavior and the pioneers of animal behavior. In this class, we will learn the types of animal behavior. After this class, we will be able to know what are individual behavior. We will be able to classify different individual behaviors. We will also be able to describe and identify individual behaviors. So let's start. Here you can see different children having different expressions. The expressions, these 5 children having 5 different expressions, even here you will find very difficult to categorize them under different categories. How can you classify? On what basis you classify? So it is very difficult to classify or categorize or group individual behaviors. Means every individual, they express different behaviors under different situations. And if we want to study animal behavior, we have to classify them, group them, which is not a very easy task. But if we see very minutely, or if we analyze the background of expression of behavior by an individual, we will find 2 categories, 2 characteristics which can fall under 2 categories. One is inherited characteristics, second is learned characteristics. So what is inherited characteristics? Inherited characteristics are mainly innate or instinct behaviors. When the behavior is innate or instinct, we can put them under inherited characteristics. Means these characters of the behaviors are automatic, or you can simply say the behavior, this kind of behavior is automatic and developmentally fixed. What does it mean? Means during the birth or at the time of birth, they carry this particular behavior. So it is already there in the gene of the organism. Without having prior experience, they can display this kind of behavior. So that is why, despite different environments, all individuals of a species exhibit that particular behavior. So this is what called innate or instinct behavior. Reflexes is a kind of innate behavior. It is of 2 types, kinesis and taxis. What is kinesis? It's a response to an environmental condition by changing the rate at which an activity is performed. So when an organism is performing an activity in response to some stimuli, environmental stimuli, it changes the rate of that particular activity. That is kinesis. Say for example, movement. Movement of an organism increases when it is in unfavorable condition. In an unfavorable place, if there is an organism, it speeds up its movement to leave that particular place. Think the other side. If the environment is favorable, the organism prefers that particular environment and it slows down its movement, or it may not leave that particular area. So this change of rate of the activity is called kinesis. Here the pill bugs, they prefer moist environment, and if you keep them in 2 different environment in a petri dish, see, this is a dry environment, this is wet environment. under dry environment, its movement is speeded up, or it speeds up its movement. However, under wet environment, which is a preferable environment for this bug, its movement slows down. And if you make a bridge here, it leaves this place and move to this place. So this is how the kinesis that you can explain as a behavior of an organism, individual behavior of an organism. Remember, it is innate behavior. No need to have any experience prior to exhibit this kind of behavior. Then taxis. What is taxis? It's a movement towards or away from a stimulus. So when the individual start moving from one area towards a stimulus, this is a positive taxis. And if it is moving away from that stimulus, it is negative taxis. So under taxis, you are having two types of movement. One is positive taxis and another is negative taxis. It means there is a direction in case of taxis. If it moves towards a particular stimulus, it has a positive direction, and if it moves towards or against against the stimulus, it has a negative taxis, means it has a negative directions. So taxis has a direction. Here you can see phototaxis. The phototaxis, the insects, all the insects, they move towards the light. So it has a direction, positive towards the light. And here you can see another example that we have discussed in earlier kinesis part. The bug moves towards the leaf. So this is the response. So this is a stimulus and it moves towards the stimulus. It is a positive response. However, when it finds the moist area from the dry area, it speeds up its movement. So the rate of change of the movement, that from the dry area to the moist area, this is kinesis. And this movement towards the moist side is taxis. I think you got the difference on this picture, on the explanation of this behavior. I am repeating, the bug doesn't like the dry open area. It moves towards the moist area, which is its favorable area. So it will speed up its movement from dry to moist area. So it is kinesis. Which way it will move? It will move from dry area to the moist area, this direction. So it is a taxis. Again, here you can see the trout. This is a trout, a fish, which moves against the water current. So the water current, movement of water current is the stimulus, and moving against the water current is the direction. So it is a taxis towards the stimulus, the taxis. So that is why taxis is a direction, having direction, but kinesis has no direction, and that is what the difference between kinesis and taxis. So you got what is called innate behavior. You can say reflex is the best example of innate behavior, which is automatic response to a stimulus. Without your knowledge, you respond to a knee jerk. That is a reflex. Sometimes you pull your hand away from heat, which you do without your experience, without any experience, prior experience. Jumping at a loud noise Sometimes it happens when you are feeling some danger or suddenly you face something, so you jump at a loud noise. So this is without any prior knowledge, any experience. So this is called reflex. And instinct, something you are born knowing to do. So in case of instinct, which is not a reflex but a behavior you will express in due course of time without any prior experience. Building a nest, for example, a bird builds a nest without any training, so it is an instinct behavior. Suckling is an instinct behavior. See here, the reflex in this case is the instinct behavior. This is the hot handle of the pan, and you will leave it immediately once you feel the hotness. So it is you perform it without your prior experience. And sometimes you see, this is the water and the turtle moves to water without any prior experience because it knows that it has to move to the water. So this is another instinct behavior.